my first do or don't, depending on which way you look at it, is don't let appearances be deceptive. And be careful that you don't form a first impression which might actually be not be the correct one. I had a case about 5 years ago where a client phoned in and said she needed some help, her marriage had broken down and she needed some assistance. And I went through sort of charging rates and how we operate. Went down to meet her in reception, and she had with her 2 carrier bags, no handbag, no purse. She was dressed very modestly, very modest lady, very nice lady. So we went into the first meeting, and about a year later we went to trial. And the first hearing was in the High Court, and the second hearing was in the Court of Appeal. And my lady was actually worth £57.4 million. And the case is a reported case, so I'm not telling you any tales out of school, it's all written up. And she had inherited her money. And the point on the divorce was the husband wanted a payment of 18 million. And we said, actually no, because you've lived such a modest lifestyle. They lived in a house in South London that was worth £225,000. The children went to school locally and they lived the most modest, quiet life, even though she had this pretty sizable wealth in the background. So we went to trial and the husband said, well, I'd like a payment of 18 million. And we said, well, actually, because it's been such a modest, quiet lifestyle, we think your payment should be 5 million. And the judge agreed with us. And the judges in the Court of Appeal also agreed with us. And as I say, the first impression of that client was a very modest, very quiet lady with her 2 carrier bags. And your first thought, quite frankly, was, I wonder if she can afford Central London lawyers. But she certainly could afford Central London lawyers. And at the end of the case, we actually got reporting restrictions put on because it was felt that if word got out at the school these children went to that mum and dad were worth about £60 million, it wouldn't be quite so good for the children. So that's my first tip with ultra high net worth clients.
Congratulations on that.
Because you may have another client who comes into reception, they may be dripping designer labels, it might be Chanel from head to foot, but quite often they're the ones who actually aren't quite so well heeled, but are looking to become rather better heeled. So just a word of warning about, as I say, first impressions can be a bit deceptive. My second top tip is when you're working on a case and your case is heading to trial or your case is getting quite involved, have a good look at the other advisors who are already acting for your client. They might be the accountants, the financial advisors, the wealth managers, the pension advisors, the actuaries, because very often you will find a long sort of bond of loyalty, a long history of your clients having been involved with these particular experts. It's always good to get to know them, get to see how they operate. Also have a look and see who's acting on the other side and who the advisors and the managers are, because again it's a very good way of just helping you establish your own networks with people. Make contact with them after the hearing, make contact with them as you're going along to see how they actually work and what tips you can share and how you might be able to work together on other cases. And my final tip is all about aftercare service, because in the divorce world, when we finish a case, most cases don't go to trial, most cases finish through negotiation. If you're acting for the wife, you will hopefully get a good settlement. If you're acting for the husband will have to pay over. That's very sexist, I know, but it's quite often the way. And very often you breathe a sigh of relief and you think, right, okay, next case, let's get on with the next case. Because we as solicitors can't give financial advice. We have to hand over the client, we have to say, go and invest your money, you know, make it work for you, make it last, because this is a once and for all settlement. And it's a good idea. I have a little practice whereby a month after the case finishes, I will speak to the client and I will say, it would be really good to meet up. We do a no charge finishing meeting whereby we will meet with you, just check everything is okay, just check you're happy with your financial advisors who are now helping you invest your money. A client, once they're divorced, will need to make a will, so it's in your interest to send them or refer them to a solicitor who can make a will for them. Sometimes they think about setting up their own businesses, so you can give employment advice. And quite often they actually just want to stay friends with you. Because when you've acted for a client for 6 months, a year, you form a bond, you get to know them, they get to know a bit about you. And it's a really, really nice investment to say, actually, I will meet with them, no charge, we'll sit down, we'll just make sure they're happy, we'll go through what we need to go through. And it's a really good way of keeping that client, and they'll come back to you later on if something goes amiss. And it's a really good way of investing for your networking and your opportunities going forward. So those are my 3 do's probably behind ultra high net worth clients.